Hello and welcome back to Kelly Loves K-Pop. I'm Kelly. Today we're going to do a friendship reading requested by a donator at the Ko-fi page. So thank you so much for that, donator. Today's request is about V and Jungkook and their friendship. So stick around. So as I said before the break, we're going to be looking into Jungkook and V and their friendship. And I was just looking up their astrology before this, and I can tell you Jungkook is probably the worst person to ever get in an argument with. They both have earth signs with fire moons, so they're both going to like carry their emotions with them, even though they're not great at expressing those emotions. But that kind of critical Virgo eye with that Leo confidence. I just think Jungkook's the type that has a really hard time saying when he's wrong, or you know, really good at deflection, I think. But that's not to say V doesn't probably mirror that, just in a little bit of a lesser way. Because Capricorns kind of go in for like the betterment of like the whole thing. So I think if one of them is going to give in first, it would be V. So like I said, I think they can have some really fiery arguments and really dig their heels in. So I think when they do have a conflict sometimes, they're not the best at like dealing with it. They'd rather stay mad. They got 2 earth signs. They're going to hold some grudges. So they probably need a mediator to step in. So yeah, that's what I think just on my first impressions of their astrology. Now, when I do friendship readings, I do past, present, future spread. So that's 3 cards. And then I'll pull kind of a spread on each side to see why that like present card is coming up. So we'll just kind of look into the present of their friendship. So I hope that makes sense. Also, I'm not doing a face cam and I probably sound really stuffy because I'm just on the tail end of a cold yet again. It seems like I've been getting them every year. But it's just a cold, don't worry. It's nothing. It's not the bad stuff. It's not the plague. I just have congested sinuses and a little bit of cough, but I'll try to edit as much of that out as I can for you. So if you see it look like it's a little jumpy, it's probably just because I had to cough or something like that. As always, tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. All events are alleged. Everything is fictional. These are just cards. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not affiliated, nor do I know personally any of these idols or their companies. So with that said, let's go ahead and shuffle cards. Today I'm just using my traditional Rider-Waite Smith Centennial Edition. Okay, 2 of Cups jumped out. That's good. I'm not going to use that for our past, present, future reading yet, but I will make note that we got a 2 of Cups. So I think it means overall, there is like affection there. There is, and honestly, a meaning of the hearts there. So I think the cards want us to know whatever good and bad we see, you know, I think there's still like at least that brotherly connection. You know, sometimes you can't live with your family. You can't be around them every day, but you know, you still love them. And if they needed you for something, you'd show up. And I think that's probably what the cards want us to know going in. Okay. We get another jumper. Okay, so 4 of Cups. All right. 4 of Cups means, you know, you can be taking a rest, or there's something you're letting, like you don't have time for, almost. Okay, let's go ahead and pull these cards. So past, present, future. Okay. So the Lovers card is about working together. It's about, sometimes it's about contracts too. Usually it's about responsibilities to another person that you've agreed to go into. You know, it symbolizes a marriage of sorts. And if you guys know, be in a group with someone, you might as well be married to them for all the time you're going to spend with them and all the arguments you're going to have with them. So it could be that. Lovers also talks about a choice. Sometimes you have to make a choice, one person or over another. There could have been jealousy there. There could have been conflict there over choices that were made. It is in the upright, so I think overall it just means they enjoy working together, or they did, at least in the past. That was like their big draw, was that they worked really, really well together. I think they had a unified vision of what they wanted to do and like what they wanted their friendship to be, and for the most part they agreed on that, and they did well working together, living together. You know, overall it seemed like they were pretty happy in, you know, interacting. The star in the present position could mean that their work and their fame is taking up all of their time in their friendship, or their friendship is mostly focused around just kind of their persona, their public vision. The star also talks about kind of feeding two sides of yourself. So it could be that they're wanting to step out of who they used to be, and they're trying to find their new, you know, they're stepping out of the lake and onto the land, or they're stepping off the land and into the lake. It could be that they're both starting to go in two different paths, and they're trying to figure out how to juggle that as far as their friendship goes. But all the stars means like it's they're bare for everyone to see, and that could be causing conflict, that like every single thing they do is looked over with a fine-tooth comb, and they have no privacy. Excuse me. So it could be something like that, where their friendship is so visible that it's actually hard for them to like have that friendship. And then we have Page of Swords in the in the future position in the reverse. So it's about not knowing kind of what to say to each other, or maybe even not even having the time to speak to each other. Sometimes the pages are also like messages, and it's like not answering each other's messages. So it's either they're really busy. I mean, this could talk about military enlistments too, where they're just not allowed to have a lot of interaction. But I think this is even farther reaching than that, that they may come to a divide where communication breaks down between the two of them, because it looks like they get to a point where they're not sure how to continue that friendship and how to keep building it. It seems like there's going to be a breakdown eventually. It could be because they've split paths here, that there's just no reason for them to interact anymore, because their main connection was the contract. I'm not sure about that. We'll see in the currents, you know, kind of what's causing this divergence between them. But at least, you know, right now, we'd have to do a bigger career thing where to see if, you know, for some reason someone's leaving. But it could just be doing individual activities from here on out, more so than group activities. Just means less reasons for them to interact. So again, we'll see. Let's go ahead and start now. Oops. Make sure. All right, so let's go ahead and look into Jungkook's current feelings toward Taehyung and kind of what's going on there. If you like my tarot mat, I sell some on Etsy, so be sure to check it out. Right now my store, while I'm recording this, my store is closed due to the strike of creators on Etsy. We're kind of standing up against their fee increases, but by the 18th my shop will be back up. So if you're looking into having a tarot reading cloth or a gaming cloth or just a nice mat to protect your table, I sell some of those on my Etsy shop now. All right, so Jungkook and Taehyung, or V. I try to use their proper stage names in these videos as much as I can. Oh, I gotta sneeze. So, I don't know. Sometimes the Three of Cups in reverse can mean gossip, but a lot of times it just means kind of people going on without you. People, like when you have that friend group that goes and hangs out without you, Jungkook could feel like he's not included. But I think Jungkook also has a personality where he doesn't always want to include himself. So there could be some of that miscommunication going on where they're like, you know, you don't usually say no when we ask you to go out, so we just stopped asking you kind of thing. And then maybe he's slightly hurt that he's not being asked. Yeah, Ace of Swords. So it's something he's not invited to, or something he's not privy to doing. Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands could be arguments. It could just be someone not thinking things through before they say them or do them. I also read, I think for Jungkook, that he was going to be really, really busy lately. So it's like, even if he can do things, he's like squeezing them in a kind of haphazardly way. Um, Again, they both have like fire moons, so it could be both of them kind of really busy and like kind of treating each other or taking each other for granted is kind of what I want to say. And for in reverse, this also means like there's no structure there. I think they used to have a more structured lifestyle with each other, you know, probably back when they had to live together, or at least their work was way more scheduled, I think, together, and now their schedules are probably pushing them further apart. Also, this is Aries, and I think it's V who has the Aries moon. So it could be that too. Again, I think we're seeing like it almost like V's going out and not contacting Jungkook maybe as much as he used to. Ten of Cups in reverse also is talking about the end of like a cycle, the end of kind of the end of that familial unit. So I think this is all kind of building off each other, that they're just not in the same boat they used to be. They're kind of in new territory, and I think they're finding they're not as inclusive with each other as it's not as easy to be inclusive with each other as they used to be, and there's some hurt feelings maybe going on because of that. And again, I don't think they're great communicators, so they're kind of sitting in those feelings and being like, oh, if they don't want to hang out with me, then fine, I don't need to hang out with them either. So again, we saw that before, and it popped out before. Again, so like I said, it's like he's calling me now, and well, it's too late. You know, now you're inviting me when you could have invited me, but now you're only doing it because I showed that I was upset. This is a choice, so let's see what the other side of that is. Both of these talk about not saying what's on your mind. It's almost like, well, one I could ignore you, or one I could like express. It's like giving you the cold shoulder. I don't know. It's two different things. That one is like, I'm just not going to be around you, and one is I'll be around you, but I'm not talking to you. So it's like Jungkook is kind of making a decision whether how much or how he wants to get his point across non-verbally, right? It's like he's non-confrontational about this situation. You know, maybe he's scared of causing a rift or something like that. Like, it's one thing if you're just not talking. It's another thing if you're actually arguing. So it could be something like that where he doesn't want to argue, but he definitely wants to, like, non-verbally get a point made. I do think whichever choice, he's doing it because he's tired of it, like, just racking his brain and, like, stressing him out. But the High Priestess can talk about just being not sure where things are. I think he could feel like he's not sure where his friendship with V is right now. Again, I think he feels isolated and left out and a little forgotten. And I think just both of them have conflicting schedules for their personal work these days. You know, it just feels like anytime they're not actually doing like BTS stuff, like they're not doing tours or they're not doing events as a group, it's like almost he feels like they're hanging out, or V specifically is hanging out without him, and it's causing him to kind of really have these insecure kind of dark feelings. Being that this is the side with more cards, I'm going to assume, or it really feels like, to me at least, that the choice he's making here is to be there, be visibly angry, but not say anything. You know, it's like he could ignore the situation and just make himself unavailable, but I think he wants his feelings to be noticed. But because, again, he's fire moon, he's a Leo moon, it's like, I want you to know you hurt me, but I don't actually want to talk about it. And again, we saw that that night, or I'm sorry, that page in the reverse. So not speaking about it, or just even, he's not even sure, you know. I know there's like some social faux pas in the culture where you can't really approach negative conversations without really looking bad sometimes. Like, you kind of be like, I have to say it without saying it, and I think that's what he's trying to do. It's like, I want you to know that I didn't like that you did that, but I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the one that's like the buzzkill, but I do want you to know that you hurt my feelings. So he's kind of going through that. He's not sure how that's going to go over. It's like, will there be long-lasting repercussions, because these boys can both be in their feelings. So let's go ahead and see how B's side of this is. Because again, this was the star. This is about each of them kind of dealing with their own things. Okay, the sun. Wow. All right, sir. I feel like B is trying to say he's out here living his best life. I don't know if that means like he was just going out having a good time and he just really wasn't thinking about anybody else. Because this is like your generational wealth, you know, kind of. I don't know. It could have meant he was like, hey, this was like a family thing, and I really wasn't trying to bring out work. You know, like I was trying to escape work. Queen of Cups. Oh, okay. Cards are really flying out for B. Yeah, this is almost like, it's almost like he had a familial responsibility he was going out taking care of, and it's like he didn't, like, I feel like I've dealt with these kind of issues before where it's like someone honestly didn't know that that was going to upset him. I think it was like a Hoshi, one of the Hoshi readings, I think, where it's like someone went out and was like, hey, I had to go out, I was a responsibility to someone who's like family to me. Excuse me. You know, I wasn't in charge of inviting anybody, so like, but maybe it's someone Jungkook also knows really well, you know. Because King of Pentacles is like, hey, I wasn't in charge of the money here, dude. Like, I wasn't in charge of buying things for people, so I didn't want to overstep my bounds. I do feel like V is showing that he has like a secondary family. Ooh, okay. He's got two like kind of ends of cycles here. Like, to me, that is like just that how I'm like, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this. Whatever. You want to be mad? It's whatever. Is really what I'm getting. Because the Ten of Swords is like, just squash it. Like, I'm not even gonna like let this weigh on me. Like, you want to be mad, like, that's on you, bro. And that Page of Swords in the future, so this is going to add up to what's happening in that future card. Suspension. So I do think this means he's trying to figure out the best solution as well, because this isn't exactly in the same position as that Two of Swords, which is a direct choice. Hangman is more like taking time out to think, taking time out to like reevaluate things. So it's like he doesn't know how to talk to him right now, and he's like, okay, well, let's just like, it's almost like if I ignore it or I let some time pass and reapproach a situation, that will be better, because right now neither one of us really knows what to say or doesn't have even the time to say it. Like, there's maybe so much going on that he's like, listen, this is not the issue I want to be dealing with right now. You know, the timing on this sucks. Queen of Swords, same position. So yeah, they're both kind of like, it's like they're both angry and they're both visibly angry, but they're both like, now is not the time to deal with this. Another pause, another forced pause. So like, he really feels like, hey, I got too much stuff going on. I can't. Like, I'm done. I'm over it. But we'll talk about this later. It's very the energy. Yeah, the chaos and conflict. So he is feeling like it's this, and it could be that's how they deal with a lot of things. They just don't say it outright, and they kind of try to let things pass after they're done being mad. Maybe they know like neither one of them is really going to apologize. You know, so they both just have to be mad and let the time pass. That's kind of also what I'm getting with this 10, is that it's just like, just ride it out. It sucks, but just ride it out. Yeah, this is almost like wanting to stop an argument. So I do think they don't want to argue. They really don't like being like that. But I do think they both easily get their feelings hurt. And then it's like, I didn't do anything worth being mad, but now that you're mad at me, it makes me mad at you. Like, I just think they both are kind of soft, you know, like, I think fire moons are soft on the inside. So, but they both just want to get their work done at the same time. I just do think, like, the fame gets to them. And also they can't have a visible argument, right? Like, they can't even let staff see them argue, because who knows who's recording what these days? Who knows who's going to sell that story? So yeah, I think even if they're not seeing each other when they're on their private time, when they have to do work together, they're mad, but they can't actually talk about it. So they're stuck like in two different ways, like both of them not wanting to be the jerk that brings it up, but also like they can't do anything while they're working. They can't show any of that like verbally. They can't like talk it out at all when anyone is around. So I think that's a part of the problem, is these issues no longer get sorted out like they used to. Like, I think they used to live together, they used to be together all the time. So when they had these issues, they had privacy to argue about it. And, you know, now I think that the closest they get to do that with is either a group chat or, you know, or I'm sorry, like a DM or like a phone call. And it's almost like even then they still barely have the private time to deal with that. Or when they have that like sacred private time, they're off doing family stuff or like seeing people that they don't normally get to see. So I just think they're at that point, and conflict resolution is just really hard. And again, neither one of them wants to either admit that they're in the wrong either. So that adds to the whole thing. So, and I think they're both, again, fiery moons. So when they have to argue, like, they have to yell. I think that they know they naturally are going to get volatile. Not violent, but loud and impassioned about like their self-defense and these kind of things. They're stuck, you know? So I don't know. It seems like this is going to be a growing issue as time goes by. But I think this is definitely the fault of the rift you were asking about in your queries. So I hope that maybe answers some of your questions as to why they seem maybe more distant or less close now than they used to be. Because I think they're having more and more issues like this where they can't hash out their problems. They have no good avenue to hash out their problems like they used to. So, but I think they're both the type that would butt heads a lot because they're both earth signs. So they need to be able to fight it out, and then like, you know, they have to fight and make up. That's their energy. That's their cycles. So the makeup part of their cycle is getting interrupted, and it's just making everything harder for them than it should be, or than it used to be. So thank you so much for your donation. I do really appreciate you guys. If you want to have your own idol reading, feel free to check out my Ko-fi page. It is, you know, per unique reading. So I try to do that per like 1 or 2 people in the group like this, where the reading was their relationship with each other. Usually if you want something like a personality reading, it's per one, it's not per group. Okay, so I know it's a little confusing. If you still want further clarification, feel free to DM me. I love talking to you guys. I will happily answer any questions you have. I have an Etsy page if you want to get a private reading. And like I said, you can buy these lovely cloths that my family makes, or I have pendulums up there that I've made by hand, and some crystals. As you know, I love my crystals. And what else? Oh, Patreon. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you guys. If you want to join the Patreon, we have Patreon exclusive readings, and then we have Patreon voted readings every month where you guys can help pick what other readings are going down, but that are outside of like Ko-fi and outside of the old Tumblr list that is still being worked through, by the way. And you'll have early access at the Patreon too. So there's a whole lot of goodies. If you join the Patreon, just a whole lot of stuff always coming on over there. And also just generally, it's a great place to talk and not have to deal with all of the trolls on YouTube. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you again real soon, okay? Bye.